Michael, first off, on the season as a whole, on a scale from disappointing to successful, where would you rate it?
Frustrating. yeah, yeah, frustrating. Somewhere slightly below middle, to be fair, Rob. I mean, obviously, we've had very, very high moments and some fantastic performances and results within the season, throughout the season, at difficult places to go and play. And obviously, we've had some really bitterly disappointing results. Some of the home games where it's been a little bit flat at times, and we've not been able to sort of break down teams and teams that have got into a low block and made it hard to beat. That's been quite disappointing. Obviously, the 2 cup games in the space of 3 or 4 days is a tough one to take for me, particularly as an individual at the time. So, it's been very frustrating. I don't want to sound making excuses, but a lot of it that I've not been able to control, if I'm being honest, with injuries, etc. Sometimes you can be your own downfall by being in control of things and not doing it properly. But I do believe that there's a lot of things that haven't gone well this year. They've not really been able to control it.
How much of a relief is it not to be in that final day scrap, though, for relegation?
It is. And to be fair, behind the scenes, we thought 46 points would be enough. For us to put the 2 performances like we did back to back over the Easter weekend was pleasing, albeit we only got one result. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes tomorrow. It's not a good feeling. I've never been in it actually, but I can imagine it's not a good. I've been in the other way where you've had to win to get promotions and stuff, but I've certainly not been in that position, and I don't really want to be in that position.
I know you don't like to single out players as a manager, but who's impressed you in your side this year?
I think the obvious ones, Robert. Obviously, Regan Pill's been outstanding. I think he's been exceptional this year, all year. I think Luis Fiorini again. He had a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season, but he started the season fantastically. He's finished it fantastically. And he's got a sort of big future ahead of him. And then, there's been other players who've had moments in the season and spells in the season. Clearly, Scully's got his goals and an assist, and he's done that regularly now for 2 or 3 seasons. So, but I think between sort of like Regan and Lewis, I'll be very surprised if the honours in terms of personal honours are not shared between those 2.
Is there anything as a manager you wish you'd done differently this year?
Obviously, I'll get time to reflect over the summer with things like that, and I'm sure there is things off the top of my head. No, and I've not really thought about that, and the reason being, you've always got a game ahead of you, so you're constantly thinking about that next game. I'm sure there'll be certain things, of course there will be. There'll be things that I should have done better and should have differently last year, and that might have been the difference between winning and losing that final, and people either notice it or not notice it. So self-reflection is a good thing, no matter what job you're in, what role you're playing, and I'll do that over the summer.
And how soon after the final whistle do you try and switch off from this season?
Hopefully immediately, for a few days at least. It's been a long haul, Rob. Obviously, we had just over 2.5 weeks break between obviously the final and back in pre-season. So you can imagine there's a lot of tight bodies in the group at the minute. I think tomorrow, potentially, we might only have 14 players available for the game tomorrow. You can imagine, what type of season it's been. So there's a lot of tired minds as well in those bodies. So I think once that final whistle goes tomorrow, I think it'll be a good opportunity for players and staff to wind down for a few days at least.